Today we're reacting to an ESPN debate focused on a major NFL coaching decision and what it means for the direction of a franchise. This conversation centers on leadership, organizational philosophy, and how coaching choices can shape a team's future before anything even happens on the field. Before watching the full debate, we're looking strictly at the central theme and why this move has people talking across the league. If you enjoyed this kind of NFL breakdown, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel.
A move, and they are hiring former New York Jets head coach and former San Francisco 49ers defensive coordinator Robert Saleh. He is set to become the 20th coach in the Oilers/Titans history, 7th since the team moved to Nashville in 97. They were 3-14 last year. They have Cam Ward. He had a rejuvenated year in San Francisco with the Niners, back with his buddy Kyle Shanahan doing a tremendous job with that defense, and obviously with all of the injuries there after getting fired from the Jets after 5 games last year and having a cup of coffee kind of as a consultant, hanger-oner, I don't know what he was with Green Bay technically. Hey, I'm friends with LaFleur. Let me just hang out with them. I guess it was
a consultant.
A consultant.
A football mind in the building.
And they let him out of the building. Probably not smart, in my opinion. And we'll get to the other hire in a little bit.
That's right.
Anyway, Titans, Robert Saleh, he gets the job. Many people, including me, thought it was going to be Matt Nagy, the offensive coordinator from the Chiefs, who has since been replaced because his contract is up by Eric Bieniemy, former head coach of the Bears in terms of Nagy. Smalls, you like this. Why? I
do like this move. I know that a lot of people thought it would be an offensive guy to go into Tennessee, because when you have somebody like Cam Ward, who was the #1 overall pick just a year ago, you are thinking, okay, let's go the Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams route. Let's go the Liam Cohen. Did you just spill your coffee all over yourself?
Was that necessary to stop everything to do that?
Sorry. Yes, I had to, because
I spilled coffee on a piece of paper, not on myself.
But it like dribbled down your face. It was quite entertaining. I hope TV caught that. Anyway, you were thinking, look at what Liam Cohen has done with Trevor Lawrence. Look at what Caleb Williams got with Ben Johnson. Obviously, they got it right with those guys to bring out the best in their quarterback. So I think a lot of people thought maybe Tennessee would go that same route with Cam Ward. But I think that they just need a leader to come into that building and establish a culture. And Rob Saleh's time with the New York Jets was obviously incredibly complicated with the Aaron Rodgers acquisition. I know that was his 3rd season, but it was such a disaster, and they gave Aaron Rodgers so much power, and then obviously he was injured very quickly on, 4 plays into his first game. So I walked away from that situation not really knowing how much of that was on Rob Saleh, how much was on Aaron Rodgers, how much of it is just the Jets' dysfunction as a whole. He goes to San Francisco, and even though that defensive unit sustained a ton of injuries, he did a great job this year. Raving reviews from everybody in San Francisco about his return there and what he was able to do this season. So I'm excited for him to get a second start, and I think it's a good landing spot for him, because even though they do have Cam Ward there, so a certain amount of attention is going to be paid to Tennessee, I think it's not a job like the Giants where you're going to be in the New York market and command this huge spotlight. I think he might be able to fly under the radar for a little bit, and that expectations won't be so high for him, and he might actually get the runway to build something. So I am interested to see what Rob Saleh can do as a leader.
Okay, a few things on that. All fair points.
In this opening stretch, the discussion about hiring a defensive-minded head coach really comes down to culture and accountability. At a certain point, a team needs structure more than flash, and that's where this type of coach can matter. The argument that leadership and toughness have to come before a scheme is strong, especially for a franchise that's been searching for a clear identity for years.
A few things come to mind when I hear this. Number one, it's amazing how dysfunctional the Jets are considered by other teams in the league, that failures with the Jets, coach or player, are no longer looked at all on the coach or player.
Darnold, Rodgers, Saleh.
Okay, so if Aaron Glenn does not succeed in New York, Aaron Glenn has a chance to get another head coaching gig, because everyone is just going to blame the Jets. And by the way, they may not be wrong. So Robert Saleh getting another head coaching gig, I do think is the right move. The other thing that I need to really be clear on, I was so wrong about one thing. I thought if you fire the head coach after the 1 year of the rookie QB, that you could really screw him up. Caleb doesn't seem screwed up. Drake May doesn't seem screwed up. I'm not going to assume that Cam Ward is going to seem screwed up here, because he's and I don't mean mentally. I mean like in terms of their preparation and the multiple play callers and the multiple coaches and schemes and systems. In fact, it actually made some of these guys better, right? Now, Ben Johnson was more ballyhooed, obviously, than Saleh is. Mike Vrabel was more accomplished than Saleh, obviously, is, because Mike Vrabel, the round he's coaching in right now, he's coached in before for the team that Rob Saleh just got hired by, right? So, in many ways, I do look at this and say, firing Brian Callahan, having nothing to do with Brian Callahan, doesn't actually matter for Cam Ward, and I thought it would. Cam Ward has every opportunity this year to live up to the number one pick in the draft because of the fact that Robert Saleh is, in essence, taking over the same kind of thing that Ben Johnson took over and Mike Vrabel took over. We've seen success with that. So I've been wrong about that. I thought if you get rid of a guy who's coaching a player at the quarterback position after 1 year, you're really screwing him over. That's not the case. That's just not the case. I was wrong about that. Now, there's also the Rob Saleh and Liam Cohen now in the same division. They've had some issues there in the past with the Niners and the Jaguars there, with those two guys kind of going at it.
Love that.
But you've been positive. I've been, let's call it, critical of myself and my takes as it applies to Saleh. Where can we find negativity? Nuno? Your thoughts on Robert Saleh to the Tennessee Titans and why people should not necessarily be like Smalls and sign off on this being just a great hire.
Well, Smalls, I mean, all great points, right? Like that type of stuff. But
we'll move him to the side.
No, I'm just worried about who's he going to hire. Like, because I've asked and Pat's asked this question a bunch of times throughout the year. What do we know about Cam Ward? Is Cam Ward good? And you guys, CC, will almost just get offended that we asked that question and say no. Well, yeah, Smalls gets really offended. Like, how dare you ask that question?
Wow.
But I'm just concerned about
Cam Ward's number one fan.
He didn't have a great, right? He didn't have a great OC in New York, right? And so I'm just worried about that situation because up until this point, it seemed like Matt Nagy was going to get the job, right? Andy Reid hired his replacement. So is it Matt Nagy? Is it Mike McDaniel doesn't get a job and then he becomes the OC there, which that would be great. Like I said to Evan, maybe Brian Dable. I'm just concerned about that situation.
So you're holding off on co-signing this because you need to see who the OC is.
Yeah, I think in any of these guys, right? We need to see what the rest of the staff is, right? With the Giants and Harbaugh's great, but what does that rest of that staff look? I know Todd Monken is the guy that they're talking about, but I know he has a second interview, I think, with the Browns. I want to see what the rest of that staff looks like before I'm like, this is a home run hire versus...
Well, then Nuno, let's do this as an overall NFL exercise right now relative to great quarterbacks and who needs to coach them.
This is where the debate gets more interesting, because it challenges the idea that changing coaches early automatically hurts a young quarterback. Recent examples suggest that instability alone isn't what ruins development. Confusion and poor direction do. If a new staff brings clarity and purpose, a quarterback can actually benefit from the reset rather than be damaged by it.
Let's look at the last 10 years. Let's list top 5 quarterbacks in the league. Okay, who are top 5 quarterbacks? Just go.
Mahomes.
Okay, he's coached by an offense-first guy. All right, keep going. Lamar is coached by was coached by a special teams guy. Keep going.
Josh Allen.
Coached by a defensive guy. Again, this is up until yesterday with Sean McDermott being fired.
Yeah,
keep going.
Both of those guys looking for the next head coach.
Yep, keep going.
Joe Burrow.
Burrow coached by an offensive guy.
You said over the past 10 years?
Yeah, whoever you want to
I'll throw Rodgers in there.
Okay, Rodgers has always been coached by an offensive guy. So 3 of the 5, offense first, 1 defense first, 1 special teams first. Now, historically, greatest quarterback of all time was coached by a defensive coach, or what was known as a defense coach. I think he was obviously great at everything. Peyton Manning. Now, Dungy's tricky because Dungy's a defensive coach, but Dungy also played quarterback, if I'm not mistaken. So it's an interesting one there. I don't think there's a perfect science to great quarterback has to be led by a head coach that does blank. I think that the great quarterback just has to be led by a head coach that is in control of everything and can tell the quarterback no.
But Ev, how many of those guys do you know who their OCs were? Are? That's so right.
What do you mean with the guys I mentioned?
Yeah,
Mahomes has had a rotating door, as we know.
but we've known it's with Harbaugh. We know it's Greg Roman. It's been Todd Monken. With Sean McDermott and the Bills, we know it's been Brian Dable, Joe Brady.
Ken Dorsey was in there. I mean, I think they played for a lot of different OCs.
But we know for the most part who they're going to be. were you going to be confident, Smalls, if all of a sudden, I don't know, like, because there's so many of these, pick a name of a guy that you did, like, we've never heard about, that it's like the new hot QB coach that might be part of the Sean McVay tree.
Oh, like Nate Scheelhaase?
Yeah, but like all of a
getting
sudden
head coaching interviews.
Yeah,
you mean?
he's the OC. Are you gonna? Well, you will, because he's an Illinois guy. But like, Ev, who'd you mention? Like Brian Greasy was on that 40. The
concern about the offensive coordinator is completely valid here. When a head coach isn't calling plays or shaping the offense directly, that coordinator becomes the most important hire on the entire staff. This decision will likely determine whether the quarterback thrives or stagnates, regardless of how strong the defense or locker room culture becomes.
Yeah, I just threw out random names. Like Brian Greasy was on the 49ers staff, then left coaching, and like, would he come back if it was an OC job for Cam Ward? I don't know. But this is the thing. What do you want to know if you're a quarterback? Do you want to know how to do it or what you're up against? Because Robert Saleh is going to help Cam Ward know what he's up against. Mm-hmm. I would assume he knows enough about football to help him do it as well.
Yeah, this is what I've seen in you. This is how they're going to attack you.
Right. Now, again, I'm going to use what I'm familiar with as a fan. New England has all of it, right? It's Mike Vrabel's going to tell you what you're up against. Now, he also played offense, but, you know, what you're up against. And Josh McDaniels is going to tell you how to do it. That's the dream scenario. But the reality is you got to pick someone to be the head coach. Someone has to coach this team, and you like the hire of Robert Saleh. And I'll tell you, I don't hate it. Because I think the Jets' stain is the Jets and not the person it stains.
Real quick, I know we got to go to break, but just ponder this as we go. How did it work out for New England when they had two defensive coordinators try to be OC guys?
I understand that, but okay, are they?
I think Robert Saleh is hiring a defensive guy as an OC?
I don't get that. He's hiring himself to be the OC?
No, but you're acting like anyone can do this and can help him along.
No, I'm not acting like anyone can do this. I don't believe anyone can do this.
You were literally saying, what does Cam Ward needs to know how to do it right now? Orlovsky, who's been destroyed on social media within the last 24 hours. He said his first question, who's he bringing in? Like that's because that's important.
All right, so then you answered the question. When I said to you, what's more important in this case, or in all cases, what you're up against or how to do it? In this specific case, we're saying
at the end of the day, this coaching hire isn't an obvious slam dunk, but it's also far from a reckless move. It's a calculated bet on leadership, stability, and long-term structure. Everything will hinge on the supporting staff and whether the organization aligns behind a single vision. That's why this debate is so compelling, because the outcome won't be decided today, but over the next few seasons. If you enjoyed this reaction and want more NFL content like this, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.